to my review of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders episode 48, the finale of Stardust Crusaders and the conclusion to the Jotaro and Dio fights. This was such a great finale, a great conclusion to the series, and the fight between Jotaro and Dio was so cool. But before we get to the final round, Saishun Randoda, there was of course the departure of Joseph Joestar. His soul ascends from his body, and before he goes to the afterlife, he leaves a couple of words of advice to Jotaro. He told him not to get angry and lose his cool, otherwise he'll lose, and use that 2 to 3 seconds to move within the stopped time very wisely. And then, of course, his final word. These 50 days really were fun. Joseph's soul ascends to the afterlife, and he's gone. Yep, the Joestar curse finally got to him. Or did it? But I will get to that later. But there was one thing that did bug me. How did Joseph know that Jotaro can move for 2 to 3 seconds within the stopped time? I mean, he was unconscious when he got that knife through the neck, and, you know, he lost a lot of blood. So how would he know that? Is it because of the Joestar blood link or something? I don't know. Honestly, Joseph's departure like that, it was very nice seeing his soul talking to Jotaro, giving him some advice. But the moment was ruined because fucking Dio shoves his fingers into Joseph's chest, sucking up even more of his blood until he's nothing more but a shriveled up corpse. I swear, it was bad enough that Joseph died like that, and then he had to have even more of his blood sucked up by Dio. And that really did piss me off when I saw that, and it even pissed off Jotaro, and he was gonna go in to attack Dio, beginning the final round. But unfortunately, when the final round began, the tables have turned. This time it was Dio kicking Jotaro's ass. And Jotaro did put up a good fight. He did manage to land a couple hits on Dio, even breaking his hand, but because of Joseph's blood, his healing process is even faster, and he can now stop time for 9 seconds. Ever since Dio sucked Joseph's blood, revealing this like new form of his, and the whole lipstick thing, I still have no idea how the hell he got that. But not only did his appearance like change slightly, but his personality in a way. I mean, he was acting even more pompous, arrogant, angry, and sometimes even acting a little crazy. I mean, like there was a scene when he was just like scratching his head and chest, I guess seeing like how fast he can heal now. And then of course you have him like digging his finger into his skull, saying this line, which I thought was really cool. Saiko ni haite hatsuda! Which means this is the greatest high. Anyway, throughout the fight, Dio did manage to break a couple bones on Jotaro's body. And he even like did a muda kick, which was actually something completely new from the world, kicking Jotaro's neck and head, even though he did try to block it with Star Platinum, but that didn't work. I really think that because of the sheer force of those kicks, and considering that in the manga his head was bent pretty far, that really should have broke his neck. But no, he was still able to be okay, even though he was beaten up and bloodied. Yeah, I seriously question the severity of these injuries in this series. Okay, so Jotaro was sent crashing down into this one bridge, and then Dio, for the last time, uses Zawaldo Tokyo Tomare. But Dio just flies up in the air, disappears while he's counting down how many seconds that the time stop has lasted. All the while, Jotaro was still angry. He's getting ready to attack Dio, because once he sees him, he's just gonna beat the crap out of him with Star Platinum. But this leads to probably one of my favorite scenes in this fight. Now, I knew this because of the Zawaldo meme, and this was shown in Heritage of the Future and All-Star Battle. I didn't see that combo used on Jotaro because I heard it kind of spoiled the climax of the fight, so I didn't see that. That scene that I'm talking about, Roda Rolada! It was the freaking steamroller! And it was so fucking awesome. Now, how did Dio get the steamroller? I think he got that in a nearby construction site, but considering how much time he had within the stopped time, which I think this time was like 11 seconds, he had to be like really fast. He comes down, slaps the freaking steamroller on Jotaro, but he tried to use Star Platinum to like punch it so that he wouldn't get squished, but Dio in the world starts like punching at the other end. So yeah, you had like Jotaro and Star Platinum going, oh no, 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 no. But then you had like Dio in the world going, muda, 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 muda. It was so good. It was so good. I'm sorry if I'm acting all fangirly, but I was waiting for this scene ever since the final fight, and David's production freaking delivered it. So with one final punch at both ends, Jotaro goes splat. Yeah, he gets squashed by the steamroller, and Dio, thinking he was victorious, starts to like say his like evil little speech, "Puny humans, I shall rule you all! Bow before my knowledge and might." And he was planning to suck up Jotaro's blood, or at least what's left of the body, of course. But then suddenly Dio couldn't move for some reason. And he was like wondering what the hell was going on. But then Jotaro appears with his freaking aura right behind Dio, saying, "I stopped time." Yeah, Jotaro can stop time now. Like, what do you want me to say about that? Like, what the hell? It's like he finally realized that his stand can stop time and he just like used it at the very last second. But in actuality, he stopped time at the 9-second mark and I guess escaped the steamroller and appeared like right behind Dio. It kind of makes sense to a certain extent because, you know, like when Dio like took Jonathan's body, Jotaro, Joseph's, and Holly stands awakened because of that. And Dio did have Hermit Purple just like Joseph. And I guess Jotaro got the world from Dio, but does that mean that Jonathan had like 2 stands? No, that wouldn't make any sense because Jonathan's stand is supposed to be Hermit Purple, but Star Platinum was able to stop time just like the world, and the world is supposed to be Dio's stand, or is it actually Jonathan's stand, but then Dio's stand would have been Hermit Purple? Oh my god! This is giving me a headache. You know, it's probably best not to think too much about it. I was like so conflicted whether to find this really cool or complete bullshit. I can understand Star Platinum stopping time. I mean, we've seen stands that have similar abilities. But the thing is, even though stands would have like the same ability, the process of how it works is usually different. Like with Osiris and Atem, they steal souls, but Atem like steals the souls in the dolls, and Osiris turns the souls into poker chips. The world and Star Platinum have the exact same goddamn ability. And that's what made the world unique, that it could like stop time. And I guess I explained like why Dio said that both the world and Star Platinum are the same type, so I guess this doesn't apply to like all the other close range power type stands. And so with Star Platinum being able to stop time, it doesn't make the world unique anymore. The only thing that makes them completely different is their appearances and Star Platinum, Starfinger. And I do know that stands do develop faster than other stands, but this is actually the part that really did bug me, is the fact that Jotaro suddenly realized that he could stop time and used it at the very last second of the final fight. And it does explain like why Star Platinum and Jotaro can like move within the stop's time, but it was never once foreshadowed that they could do that before his fight with Dio. Like, if his stand awakened that ability like earlier, imagine like how many fights would have ended so differently. I will admit, I mean, how the scene went down was pretty cool, especially with Jotaro toying with Dio. Okay, I swear, Jotaro has become even more of a badass in this fight. So he uses Star Platinum to break Dio's legs by kicking them, and time resumes, and then Dio's just sent hurling, crashing onto the bridge. And you know, him being the main protagonist of the series, doesn't want to beat Dio up while he's down. So he's gonna wait for his legs to heal so that he can attack him again. Dio was so pissed, but he really wants to win no matter what he does. So he slowly gets up, sprays the blood on one of his legs into Jotaro's eyes, and summons the world and tries to kick him. But even though he couldn't see, Jotaro still summons Star Platinum and he punches the world's leg. Star Platinum's like wrist getting broken, so you think like Dio would have won. But then the world's leg starts to crack and his entire body starts to crack and break. Same thing with Dio, his body was like breaking in half, and his final words, "Bakana, kono Dio ga, kono Dio ga." His final words were impossible. "I'm Dio, I am Dio." And then he explodes, his body's broken down into pieces, blood everywhere, and he is dead. Seeing Dio defeated like this was so satisfying, yet kind of funny in a way. But here's the thing, he really shouldn't have used his leg to try to kick Jotaro. If he like used his fist, then yeah, he probably would have turn the tables into his favor, but using one of his injured legs is not a good idea. And also, I really want to bring this up. Why didn't he use stingy eyes? Like, did Araki forget that Dio had other vampire abilities? I mean, I know he can't use that ice touch thing like he did with the Dire back in Phantom Blood because he had to like fully control every single cell of his body, but he can still do stingy eyes, right? I mean, he did it to Jonathan in the final episode when he was just a freaking head, so, like, couldn't he have done that? Maybe things would have ended off differently, but still Jotaro winning, but I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of like the problem I'm having with Stardust Crusaders is that Araki forgets that other characters have these other abilities, but they usually never use them. But, you know, aside from that, I still enjoy the series. But of course, we need to end this scene with a one-liner. So Jotaro says, there's only one reason why you lost to Dio. There's just one simple answer. Teme wa ore wa okoroseta. Which means you really pissed me off. And then you have the text saying, Dio, the world, utterly defeated, dead. And then we get the aftermath of the fight. Speedwagon Foundation has gathered up everyone. Polnareff was unconscious, so he's gonna be okay. Jotaro, I guess he's okay even after everything he went through. I mean, a freaking steamroller, like, almost killed him, like, and he's, like, still able to, like, sit down and talk, and I guess he's not that badly injured. And they did recover the bodies of Joseph, Dio, and Kakyoin. But Jotaro had an idea, and it was to do a blood transfusion on Joseph to bring him back to life. So, yeah, they're gonna transfer Dio's blood, which still probably had Joseph's blood, since Joseph lost that minutes ago, apparently. But it seemed like it was impossible to do that since Joseph was dead, but considering that Dio was a vampire, it's possible to revive Joseph with the blood. So the blood transfusion seems to have worked, and you think, like, this was a nice, happy moment. It turned sour all of a sudden when this purple aura was emitting out of Joseph's body. Yeah, Joseph can have the aura thing too, I guess. He has this, like, evil look on his face, and then he says, "You fool, Jotaro. Thanks to you, I live again." I was so fucking pissed and upset because I really thought that Joseph from in there turned into a vampire, but instead, Dio possessed Joseph, and I was gonna call bullshit on that because I really didn't want this to happen to Joseph. I would have rather had Joseph dead than for him to be possessed by Dio, but it turns out it was all a joke. Oh my god, okay, I freaking love Joseph even as an old man. He's such a fun, goofy character, but that was not cool. I was so freaking pissed and scared at the same time. I really thought Dio possessed him, and I thought Dio was not dead. I thought he came back, which I was like, no, let him stay dead. But no, he's okay. He was just kidding. The fucking son of a bitch, but I still love Joseph. Since he had that blood transfusion from Dio, I know that he probably still got some of his blood back, but he still also has Dio's blood too, so is he gonna turn into a vampire like with Vanilla Ice? Because I know that the process was going through slowly for Vanilla Ice and it went quickly for him. He fully became a vampire when Polnareff used Silver Cherry to, like, stab him through the mouth. So if Joseph is gonna come close to dying, is he gonna turn into a vampire too? That's actually something I really want to know. Also, since they were able to use Dio's blood on Joseph, couldn't they use that on Kakyoin and Iggy too? I mean, Dio's blood did revive Vanilla Ice when he, you know, chopped his own freaking head off. So I'm pretty sure it could help heal that hole in his gut and probably heal Iggy too. Unless there wasn't enough blood. I don't know. I guess I was, like, still clinging on to, like, some sort of hope that some of the characters will be revived in some way. So the next thing Jotaro and Joseph do is to bring Dio's body to the sunrise, turning the body into ashes. It rises up into the sky, getting blown into the wind. And I know Jonathan's spirit can finally be at peace, knowing that his grandson and great-grandson have defeated Dio. But you know what? I actually thought that this would have been, like, cool if Jonathan's spirit was still inside his body. Well, part of his spirit at least, because it would have been cool at least seeing Jonathan again, and so that, you know, he would, like, rise up from the ashes, and then his soul will, like, thank Joseph and Jotaro and, like, smile, and he'll be able to, like, move on to the afterlife. But, well, all I know is that Jonathan now can finally be at rest. I mean, Jonathan may not be, like, my favorite Jojo so far, but he's definitely the one I respect the most, and hopefully he'll finally be at ease now. And they reminisce of the vast amount of things and lives that Dio has taken away. And of course, they were thinking about their fallen comrades, those that helped them survive. And then you see the faces of Kakyoin, Iggy, and Abdul in the sky, and then you have Jotaro saying, Kakyoin, Iggy, Abdul,owatayo, which means it's over. This was a very sad scene, yet it's a very nice one too, because they finally have time to mourn for the losses of their fallen friends. It would have been so great if Polnareff was there, but I guess he was like still unconscious because of the injuries. It was really sad knowing that Kakyoin and Iggy and Abdul aren't going to make the last train home, but at least we now know that their spirits can finally be at peace. Although, speaking of spirits, we've only seen the souls of not only Joseph, but of Abdul and Iggy ascending to the afterlife, but how come we didn't see Kakyoin's soul? I mean, is his soul still on the earth, or did he move on to the afterlife and we didn't get to see it? Because, I don't know, like, I wouldn't mind seeing that. I mean, it would have been very sad, but I wouldn't mind seeing it. And then we get another scene that really hits you in the feels. Seriously, this ending has a lot of feels into it. It was the airport scene where Jotaro, Joseph, and Polnareff were saying goodbye to each other. And Polnareff was going to return to France because it was always his home, no matter what. They have this group hug, they say their goodbyes, and they go on their separate ways, returning to their homelands. Meanwhile, in Tokyo, Holly has gotten better, and I'm assuming because of the Joestar bloodline link, she knows that Joseph and Jotaro are coming home. And speaking of them, we get the final scene with them in the airplane. Jotaro looking at the photograph that they took back in episode 25. Again, more feels. It was such a sad. Jotaro smiles, knowing that he'll remember the good times that they had with each other, knowing that he's not going to forget his friends, puts the photo into his school jacket, and then you just see the airplane flying, and the end. What a finale. This was a really good conclusion to the series. I really enjoyed it. And the final fight, as I said before, it was really well done. Best scene so far is definitely the freaking steamroller. That was so awesome! I'm still like trying to figure out if it was good or not for Star Platinum to be able to stop time. But I guess I'll have to like let it slide because this is Jojo. It's where the impossible is possible after all. You know, Dio as a villain overall, he was such a good villain. I mean, sure, he was pompous, arrogant, cocky, and he did a lot of terrible things that you are really rooting for Jotaro to kick his ass, which he did so, and it was very satisfying when you see Dio getting beaten up, and how he went down was pretty funny, and it was actually satisfying at the same time. It makes me really wish that he would have appeared more in the series, but all the scenes he was in when he finally like showed up in his full form, he made the most out of it, and well, he kept on fighting till the very end, but you know, Jotaro wins. In all honesty here, I don't know if this is the last we'll see of Dio because, well, in some of the scenes in the earlier episodes, you see this bow and arrow on the wall in Dio's room. I remember that it was shown in Dio's flashback, and it was also shown when he was talking to Vanilla Ice. And I did hear this, that in part 4, there's this bow and arrow that comes into play, and I don't know exactly what it does, but I think it's like connected to stands or something. So I cannot but feel like Dio has like another backup plan. He's got like another trick up his sleeve, even though he's dead. And I really want Dio to like stay dead. Like, I don't want him to come back. But I know like this isn't going to be the last we'll see of him. Maybe he'll be mentioned in like parts 4 to 6 or something. I'm not sure. But again, we didn't know like what Dio was doing for the most part during like the 3 to 4 years since he like returned. But if he did really have a backup plan, I'm hoping Jotaro, Joseph, and the Speedwagon Foundation investigated the mansion to find any clues whatsoever of what Dio has been planning. That is, if he was planning anything, but I'm hoping that they did investigate the mansion. Oh, and I really hope that they recovered Iggy's body too. Like, it was still in the mansion, so I hope they recovered that too. I was bummed that there wasn't an opening song playing at the climax of the fight, because I don't know, I was hoping that Sonochi no Kyoku was gonna play, or Sonochi no Sadame, or maybe even Stand Proud, but I guess they played that many times, they didn't want that or something, but at least we got Jotaro's theme playing, so that was cool. And I was so looking forward to like seeing like a part 4 teaser. Maybe see like either Kira or Josuke or something, but we didn't get that. But you know what, I don't mind, because like seeing Jotaro looking at that photo, it was really nice. The episode not only had like a lot of cool action, but there was some great emotion into it. The ending for me was actually not only a happy ending, but kind of bittersweet in a way, because even though they did accomplish their goal, they lost so much just to get there. At least they'll always have the memories of their trip. I'm hoping we'll get to see Jotaro, Joseph, and Polnareff together again. It would be so great. I don't know if they'll show up in like part 4, 5, or 6, but I hope they do. And you know what? I wish these characters the very best. I hope they'll get to live nice long happy lives after this journey has ended. So yeah, overall, great finale to the series, and David's production, thank you for adapting JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I couldn't ask for a better studio to make an anime adaptation. You guys did a very good job with this series. And I did hear that if the sales for the Blu-rays, DVDs, and the games go really well, then a Part 4 anime might get greenlit. Hopefully by 2016, 2017, we might get that anime. So here's to hoping that Part 4 Diamond is Unbreakable will be getting an anime adaptation. Please, anime Part 4. So yeah, tell me guys, what did you think of the finale of Stardust Crusaders? Did you like it? Did you hate it? What did you think of the final round between Jotaro versus Dio? And were you freaking hyped when you saw the freaking steamroller? And how did you react when you learned that Star Platinum could stop time? And did you guys get the feels like I did when seeing the ending? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like the video if you like it and subscribe to more videos. And be sure to check out my Facebook fan page and Google+. So yeah, that's it. Stardust Crusaders is over, and I'm glad that I was able to share my experience of JoJo with you guys. And thank you for coming along on the ride as well. Like Polnareff said, there have been a lot of hardships, but it was fun. That journey was fun because all of you were there. Thank you guys. I'm Lunar Spy 27, and until the next bizarre adventure, abayo. Genki dana.